Welcome to Tilari Forest Birding. This conservation reserve is known as Maharashtra's Amazon rainforest. It has the largest number of birds compared to its size. Let's begin our journey of this video and take a dive into the bird diversity of this area. Let's begin our journey with the most commonly spotted bird, which is the orange-headed thrush. The orange-headed thrush, Geocycla citrina, is a frequent and striking inhabitant of the Tilari Conservation Reserve in the Western Ghats. In this region, you are most likely to encounter the white-throated subspecies, G. c. cyanota, which is distinguished by two vertical black bars on its white face. This shy, ground-dwelling bird thrives in Tilari's moist, semi-evergreen forest patches and shaded ravines, where it can be seen hopping through the leaf litter in search of insects and fallen fruit. It is particularly active during the dawn and dusk hours, and its presence is often given away by its melodious, flute-like song that echoes through the dense undergrowth. Next up is this gray-fronted green pigeon, also a resident of this forest and often found feeding on berries on trees. The gray-fronted green pigeon, Trayron affinis, is a quintessential canopy dweller of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. This species is endemic to the Western Ghats and is easily identified by its soft pastel green plumage, maroon mantle, in males, and the characteristic blue-gray patch on its forehead. In the dense, fruiting forests of Tilari, these pigeons are often found in small flocks, camouflaging perfectly among the foliage as they feast on wild figs and berries. Unlike many other birds, they are quite acrobatic, often hanging upside down to reach fruit on thin branches. While they are often silent while feeding, their presence is frequently revealed by a distinctive, low-pitched whistling call that sounds like a series of wandering, liquid notes drifting through the forest canopy. Now comes the chestnut-headed bee-eater. The chestnut-headed bee-eater, Merops lescanalti, is a vibrant, slender bird often seen in the open clearings and along the forest edges of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is easily identified by its bright chestnut crown and nape, which contrasts sharply with its lime-green body and yellow throat. Unlike some of its relatives, it lacks the long central tail streamers, giving it a more squared-off tail appearance. In Tilari, these birds are typically found near water bodies or in highland areas, where they hunt from exposed perches like bare branches or electric wires. They are incredible aerial acrobats, performing swift sorties to catch bees, wasps, and dragonflies mid-air before returning to their perch to de-sting their prey. They are social birds, often seen in small, chattering groups, and they nest by excavating long tunnels in the sandy banks or soft soil found within the reserve's hilly terrain. Here comes the Indian scimitar babbler. The Indian scimitar babbler, Pomatorinus horsfieldii, is a secretive yet vocal resident of the dense undergrowth and bamboo thickets within the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is most famous for its long, downward-curved yellow bill, resembling a scimitar, which it uses to probe into leaf litter and rotting logs for insects. In the humid environment of Tilari, you are more likely to hear this bird before you see it. They are known for their distinct duetting calls. The male typically emits a deep, hollow hoop-hoop-hoop, followed immediately by the female's sharper cuckoo response. While they are shy and tend to stay low in the dark, tangled vegetation, their bold white supercilium, eyebrow, and dark mask make them quite striking if caught in a patch of sunlight. They are highly territorial and play a vital role in the forest ecosystem by controlling insect populations on the forest floor. Now the white-rumped shama. The white-rumped shama, Copsychus malabaricus, is often considered the finest songbird of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. A master of mimicry, it produces a complex array of rich, flute-like notes that can be heard echoing through the valley's dense secondary forests and bamboo-lined ravines. Visually, it is quite striking. The male features a glossy black head and back, a deep chestnut belly, and a remarkably long, graduated tail. Its namesake white patch on the rump is most visible when the bird flits between the shaded lower stories of the canopy. In the quiet, humid environment of Tilari, the shama is a shy and crepuscular hunter, most active during the low light of dawn and dusk. It typically stays within the shadows of the undergrowth, feeding on insects, but its bold and territorial song makes it a constant presence for anyone trekking through the reserve's quieter forest patches. Now the greater racket-tailed drongo comes in. The greater racket-tailed drongo, Dicrurus paradiseus, is one of the most charismatic birds in the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is instantly recognizable by its deeply forked tail ending in two long, wire-like shafts with flared rackets at the tips. In the dense forests of Tilari, this bird is a legendary mimic, perfectly imitating the calls of other birds like the shikra or various babblers to confuse them or dominate feeding flocks. It is often the leader of mixed-species foraging groups, using its aggressive nature and incredible aerial agility to snatch insects disturbed by other moving animals. Its glossy black plumage and prominent crest make it a majestic sight as it swoops through the misty canopy. Here comes the greater flameback. The greater flameback, Chrysocolaptes gutta-cristatus, also known as the large golden-backed woodpecker, is a powerful and noisy resident of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is easily distinguished from its smaller relatives by its large size, a prominent red crest, in both sexes, though the female's crest is spotted with white at the front, and a distinct, divided, black mustache stripe. In the tall, old-growth trees of the Tilari forest, you'll often hear its loud, rattling trill before seeing its golden-yellow mantle flash through the canopy. It uses its heavy, chisel-like bill to drum on bark and excavate deep holes in search of wood-boring beetle larvae and ants. Because it prefers mature forests with plenty of deadwood, its presence is a great indicator of a healthy, thriving ecosystem within the reserve. Now we enter the rare bird spotting zone. The yellow-browed bulbul, Acrotillus indica, is a signature bird of the Western Ghats evergreen patches, frequently seen in the moist, shaded mid-canopy of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. Unlike the more common bulbuls found in gardens, this species is almost entirely olive yellow, with its most striking feature being the bright yellow eyebrow and throat that stand out even in the dim forest light. In Tilari, these birds are highly social and are almost always the core members of mixed-species foraging flocks. They are energetic and restless, constantly moving through the foliage while emitting soft, mellow, liquid chirps. Their presence is a good sign that you are in a high-quality forest zone, as they rarely venture out into open or degraded lands, preferring the cool, humid interior of the reserve. Now the Malabar trogon. The Malabar trogon, Harpactes fasciatus, is perhaps the most sought-after sighting in the Tilari Conservation Reserve. This shy, canopy-dwelling bird is a master of sit-and-wait hunting, often remaining perfectly still on a branch for long periods before darting out to snatch an insect. The male is breathtaking, featuring a velvet black head and breast separated from a brilliant crimson underbelly by a clean white band. The female is more subtle but equally beautiful, with earthy orange-brown tones replacing the red. In the misty high canopy environment of Tilari, they prefer the dark, undisturbed evergreen patches. Because they rarely call and move so little, spotting one is often considered a highlight of any birding trip to the region. Now the dark-fronted babbler. The dark-fronted babbler, Domitia atroceps, is a small, restless bird that thrives in the dense, tangled undergrowth and bamboo thickets of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is easily identified by its distinctive black mask or forehead, which contrasts sharply with its bright yellow iris and warm brown upperparts. In the humid environment of Tilari, these birds are typically found in small, active groups, constantly flitting through the lower vegetation. They are quite vocal, often emitting a series of low, chattering shrrr calls as they forage for insects among the leaf litter. Because they prefer thick cover, they can be a challenge to spot, but their high-pitched metallic contact calls are a common sound in the quieter, more shaded parts of the forest. Now the gray-headed bulbul. The gray-headed bulbul, Pycnonotus priocephalus, is a prized sighting in the Tilari Conservation Reserve, as it is an elusive endemic species restricted to the Western Ghats. It is easily identified by its soft olive-green body and its namesake pale gray head, which contrasts beautifully with its bright yellow-greenish eyes. In the humid evergreen stretches of Tilari, this bird is notably shy and prefers the dense riverside vegetation and tangled vine clusters over open spaces. Unlike its more boisterous cousins, the gray-headed bulbul has a very quiet, subtle song consisting of soft, liquid chirps. Because it stays low in the thickets and rarely ventures into the high canopy, spotting one usually requires a bit of patience and a keen eye for movement in the shaded undergrowth. Now comes the flame-throated bulbul. The flame-throated bulbul, Pycnonotus gularis, is one of the most spectacular endemics of the Western Ghats and a true gem of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. It is instantly recognizable by its brilliant, glossy orange-red throat patch, which glows like an ember against its yellow underparts and olive-green back. Its striking white iris gives it a distinct, intense expression. In the moist deciduous and evergreen forests of Tilari, these bulbuls are typically found in the middle to upper canopy, often near streams or damp ravines. While they are social and frequently join mixed-species foraging flocks, they are generally shyer than the more common red-vented bulbuls. They have a cheerful, light-hearted song consisting of short, liquid whistles that blend beautifully into the ambient sounds of the Tilari wilderness. The Asian fairy bluebird, Irina puella, is one of the most visually stunning residents of the Tilari Conservation Reserve. The male is unmistakable, featuring a brilliant, glistening turquoise blue back and crown that contrasts sharply with its velvet black underparts and red eyes. The female is more subtle but equally elegant, dressed in a uniform duller blue-green or aquamarine. In the tall, fruit-bearing trees of Tilari, these birds are typically found in the upper canopy, often in small groups or pairs. They are major frugivores, playing a vital role in seed dispersal as they feast on wild figs and berries. While they can be shy, their presence is frequently announced by a loud, clear, two-note whistling call, bee-wick, that rings out across the misty valleys of the reserve. Finding one perched in a patch of sunlight, where its blue plumage truly glows, is a highlight of any birding session in the region. The brown-cheeked fulveta, Alcipe poioacephala, is one of the most common and vocal members of the undergrowth choir in the Tilari Conservation Reserve. This small, brownish bird is easily identified by its soft gray-brown head, distinct pale eye ring, and, as its name suggests, warm brownish-buff cheeks. In the humid evergreen patches of Tilari, these birds are almost never seen alone. They are highly social and often form the nuclear core of mixed-species foraging flocks. They move restlessly through the lower and middle stories of the forest, constantly gleaning insects from the undersides of leaves. Their song, a sweet, 4- to 6-note rhythmic whistle, is one of the most characteristic sounds of the Tilari wilderness, often acting as a sentinel call that alerts other birds in the flock to movement in the forest. The brown shrike, Lanius cristatus, is a hardy winter visitor to the Tilari Conservation Reserve, typically arriving from its breeding grounds in Siberia and East Asia. It is easily identified by its prominent black, bandit mask that runs through the eye, contrasting with its warm, rufus-brown upperparts and a pale, creamy underbelly. In the Tilari landscape, you are most likely to spot this bird on the forest edges, in open scrubland, or perched prominently on low branches and fence wires. True to its butcher bird nature, it is a fierce predator for its size, sitting motionless as it scans the ground for large insects, lizards, or even small birds. Once it captures its prey, it often impales it on a thorn or barbed wire to hold it in place while feeding. While it can be quite aggressive towards other birds, its harsh, chattering alarm call is a distinct sound that marks its territory during the cooler months in the reserve. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please share and subscribe if you liked it. Images credit Arya Gokhale from Wildlife Graph.